Was ist das denn? Na, da kann man drin ertrinken, liebe Freunde. Na gut, okay. Kann man zurückgehen? Na, schade.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alles klar. Ah, ich frage mich, ob wir jetzt dasselbe Ende kriegen, was damals... Steht da? Na, aber irgendwas Langweiliges. Das kann ich nicht lesen, das ist zu klein. Ach, okay, wir sind in...
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically whenever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Oh, Gott sei Dank.
He thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield. And it too appeared. It was so much fun. And Stanley marveled, that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Yeah.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he said.
Describingception.
And while he found it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream.
Das ist not.
How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now,
jetzt sind es noch 2 Räume oder so.
Words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Scheiße! God
Stanley
damn
began
it.
screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss, I have an office, I am real. Please, just
Uah.
someone tell me I am real. I must be real, I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Oh. Okay. Ich weiß schon, wie es weitergeht.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Ja.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Ein deepes Ending. Aber wir sind noch nicht fertig. Denn die Geschichte ist noch nicht zu Ende.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. Okay. Kann ich eigentlich... Ah, okay. Man kann das Spiel auch selbstständig nochmal neu starten.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, folgen wir diesmal ganz der Story. Folgen wir der Story ganz, okay? Seien wir nett zum Erzähler. Ich mag den Erzähler.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Okay. Wir gehen diesmal nicht in den Besenraum.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, tun wir das. Tun wir das. Tun wir das. Ah. Wo muss ich hin? Executive Bathroom. Oh, da will ich rein. Schade. Darf ich nicht rein. Die Sekretärin ist auch weg. Oh mein Gott. Liegt da vielleicht in der... Okay. Oh mein Gott. Oh mein Gott. Okay. Was?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
Ja,
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
das stimmt. Sowas Blödes aber auch. Was können wir denn jetzt nun machen? Vielleicht ein bisschen Wein trinken?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
I am the most expensive boss. Steht da?
2845.
Ja. 2845. Sowas Blödes aber auch.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in. and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Das ist so genial. Wenn ich jetzt tatsächlich die Nummer eingegeben hätte, dann hätte er sowas gesagt wie by simply pressing random numbers on the keypad, bla bla bla. Wow, okay, alles klar. Ganz ruhig, chill. Hilfe. Loading. Gut.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
Yeah.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Das erinnert mich gerade so derbe an Portal 2 hier. Es ist auch irgendwie der Game
straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay. Mind Control, ja klar. Escape? Es tut mir leid, Erzähler, ich kann es nicht mehr aushalten.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay. Ich bin irgendwie neugierig. Ich würde gern abspeichern.
Of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Versuchen wir es einfach
Nope,
mal.
still on board with death?
Nein, gehen wir da rein. Okay, tun wir es. Tod ist auch manchmal eine Erlösung. Manchmal muss man einfach aufhören zu leiden. Tod ist vielleicht nicht immer das...
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Das stimmt. Aber irgendwie, ich weiß
At this
nicht.
point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ja. Mein Tod. Ade, schöne Welt. Oh. Oh, okay, nein. Nein! Nein, nicht gut. Übrigens auch wieder der übelste Portal 2 Modus.
And Stanley was inched closer and closer to
Nein.
his demise.
Nein.
Reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
Nein.
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, plucking the eyeballs from a blind man.
Oh nein.
So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life.
Oh Mann.
Farewell, Stanley.
Leb wohl, Erzähler. Huh?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Huh? Oh. Eine Erzählerin. Okay, aber wo geht's da? Okay, da wurde uns einfach der Weg versperrt. Ungefährlich.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?